Here is the picture of superior orbital fissure up to this, and in the middle you can see the common tendinous ring. So the lateral portion of the superior orbital fissure, and this is the inframedial portion of the superior orbital fissure. And here on the upper part you have the LFT. L for lacrimal nerve, F for frontal nerve, and T for trochlear nerve. Along with that you have the superior ophthalmic vein. And here, if you see inside the common tendinous ring, you have the superior division of oculomotor, inferior division of oculomotor. In between only you should place nasociliary. Below that you should place abducens. And then last here, you should place the inferior ophthalmic. So superiorly you have superior ophthalmic. Here you have to place the inferior ophthalmic. No need to draw this fissure. This is called inferior orbital fissure. No need to draw. Only the superior orbital fissure is important area. And here you can see the common tendinous ring which encircles the fissure as well as the optic canal. But we want only the structures present in superior orbital fissure. Here is a slide of ophthalmic artery. The important MCQs are, it's a branch of the internal carotid artery, cerebral part of internal carotid artery. This is the first question, important MCQ. And second one, it enters through which canal? Optic canal. Along with which nerve? Optic nerve. So this is very important. So optic canal transmits optic nerve and ophthalmic artery. These two are very important. And the third important one is it is lying infralateral to optic nerve. You can see very well here, infralateral to optic nerve. This is very important. From there it crosses medially. You can see that above and medial it crosses along with the nasociliary nerve. So lateral to medial side it crosses above the optic nerve. That is very important. And terminal branches you can see here, dorsal nasal and supratrochlear. That's all the MCQs for ophthalmic artery. Other branches, as you all know, the most important one is central artery of retina. The central artery of retina is very important, the first and most important branch, and it lies below the optic nerve. That's very important, and it pierces the optic sheath. That is very important, and only it can reach the retina. Optic disc. Okay, so it is very important. Another one important thing about the central artery of retina is it is an end artery. So if it is occluded, it may result in blindness. So it is very important. And the second one is the lacrimal artery, which goes to the lacrimal gland. And medially, if you see, you can see there's long and short ciliary branches and the supratrochlear supraorbital, and here you can see the ethmoidal branches, anterior ethmoidal, posterior ethmoidal. These are all least important. The most important one is central artery and then terminal branches. That's all about the ophthalmic artery and the origin. These three are very important. Here is the slide of ophthalmic nerve. The possible MCQs are, number one, ophthalmic nerve is a branch of. It is a branch of one of the branches of trigeminal nerve. Second is the branches from the ophthalmic division of trigeminal nerve. Number one, you can see very well here, frontal, nasociliary, and lacrimal. You can see this one. This is your nasociliary, and here is the center you have the frontal, and laterally you have the lacrimal. So you can see very well the lacrimal is the smallest branch, and the lacrimal branch only carries the secretomotor pathway for the lacrimal along with zygomatico-temporal. It carries a secretomotor pathway. So the lacrimal nerve is here, and the frontal nerve is the largest branch. It has two terminal branches, supratrochlear and supraorbital, and nasociliary as usual it's come here, and it gives a communicating branch to ciliary ganglion. That's very important. It gives a communicating branch to ciliary ganglion, MCQ, and it gives long ciliary nerves, and you can see the posterior ethmoidal nerve. Okay, and then it goes up. Anterior ethmoidal is here and infratrochlear is here. Anterior ethmoidal, infratrochlear are the branches, terminal branches of nasociliary. You can see here very well. So these are all the smaller terminal branch. Infratrochlear is the smallest terminal branch, and anterior ethmoidal is the other terminal branch. This is MCQ. Okay, this is about the ophthalmic nerve. That's all. Very simple now, ophthalmic nerve. Here is a slide of ciliary ganglion. This is a very important short note. Here you have to write 5 points about ciliary ganglion. Number one, it lies, where is it situated? It lies between the optic nerve and lateral rectus muscle. That's the first point. Second point, it has 3 roots, parasympathetic, and sensory and sympathetic root. The parasympathetic root, you need to mention from where it starts. It starts from Edinger-Westphal nucleus and it comes via the inferior division of oculomotor through the nerve to inferior oblique. This only carries marks. So it is very important. This is called as preganglionic fibers since the ganglion is situated here. After that, it gets relayed in this, and then the postganglionic fibers start out through the short ciliary nerves and supply the sphincter pupillae or constrictor pupillae and ciliaris muscle. Okay, this causes the light reflex and accommodation reflex. And the next thing is sensory. Sensory route is via the nasociliary. You can see here nasociliary. So it doesn't relay in that ganglion. So it just passes through that and supplies the eye, eyeball. And the third one is the sympathetic root. This sympathetic root, you can see, is a branch from the internal carotid plexus. You can see the plexus around the internal carotid artery. So it's a branch from the internal carotid plexus and it contains postganglionic fibers. It contains the postganglionic fibers from the lateral horn. Can you see that? So it goes from here and then here is a superior cervical ganglion. From there it goes to the spinal cord. Okay, the lateral horn of the spinal cord where your sympathetic outflow is situated. So here you should mention. So it starts from the plexus around the internal carotid artery, goes to the superior cervical ganglia. From there it goes to the sympathetic root. So this is very important and branches 8 to 10 short ciliary nerves you should mention, and then they pierce the sclera. That's all. This is about the ciliary ganglion. So these are the important points you should mention about ciliary ganglion. You can write very well the light reflex and accommodation reflex. Along with that, if you find time, you can write Argyll-Robertson pupil also. That is absence of light reflex and preservation of accommodation reflex. That's all about ciliary ganglion. This is the important picture of optic nerve. So few MCQs commonly asked regarding the optic nerve are: number one, the axon starts from which layer of retina? Number one, answer is ganglionic layer of retina. Number one. Number two, through which foramen it enters? It enters through the optic canal. You all can see the optic canal very well here. So this is the optic canal, number two. Number three, the most important thing is the central artery and vein of retina pierce the optic nerve infromedially 1.25 centimeter behind the eyeball. That is very important. Central artery and vein of retina pierce infromedial. That is very important regarding this. And optic nerve is crossed by what are the structures crossing superiorly are ophthalmic artery, nasociliary nerve, and superior ophthalmic vein. So one artery, one nerve, and one vein. So this you should keep it in mind. And optic nerve is crossed inferiorly by nerve to medial rectus. So these are the important factors you should know about optic nerve. And the optic nerve has the dural sheath. That's why whatever pressure, intracranial pressure can be transmitted through the sheath and it can be seen inside the optic disc, what you can see here. So if there is high intracranial pressure, you can see it through the fundoscopic examination, that is called papilledema. This optic cup will be edematous. So this is about the optic nerve. Here's the picture shows the relation of optic nerve and other structures. Lying on is above the optic nerve is the ophthalmic artery crossing from lateral to medial side with nasociliary. So this relationship is very important, can be asked as a MCQ question.